Hello. Today we'll explore AI systems, the state of the art of AI systems. What are they capable of now? What are all those new AI systems that get announced every few weeks, it seems? New websites, the plethora of new and old AI models, and now AI agents. What are all of them capable of? So we'll take a good survey of the field today, get an understanding of how they're being put to use and how we can expect them to change our lives in the next few years. Imagine you have a 3D model created. You now want it to have some animations like dancing, animations such as boxing, walking, jumping, or whatever you like. We have Adobe's Mixamo website services that helps you add such animations to your 3D models. How wonderful is that? Imagine you have a 3D model created, a 3D model of a human or a robot or whatever you like, and you want it to say something. But then, how do you make the model move its lips? Can the model show facial expressions like humans often do? For that, we have Nvidia's audio to face tool now. It's quite amazing in what it can do. So let's have a look at it. Almost everyone has seen or has done photo image manipulation, enhancing images, photos, one way or other. Now, OpenAI's latest image generation update has unleashed a wave of creativity on social media, transforming it into a vibrant Ghibli art fest. Now, who hasn't heard of Ghibli art or the Ghibli style of images or painting in the last few weeks or months? The internet is now filled with stunning watercolor like landscapes, hand drawn character portraits with expressive eyes, and intricate details reminiscent of Studio Ghibli's iconic style. It's a rage, and you gotta try it if you haven't so far. So, let us now consider the various features that are the state of the art when it comes to AI systems that have been deployed in the last year or two. Some of these features are just astounding, but some of them have been around for quite some time. Conversational interactions with cloud based AI systems. They've been used in customer service interactions and are perhaps commonplace now. So, conversational interactions, uh, customer service, tech support, and all of that seem to be using them regularly. Query response interactions are commonplace too. Additionally, not just one query, but asking several queries one by one, while the AI system understands that all these queries are within one single context, within one use case, for example, or within one scenario. The model nowadays, the models are able to combine all of these multiple queries into a context and keep that in mind. Use that context in generating proper responses during the query response interactions. Now, user prompts are getting very sophisticated. Prompt engineering is a very common term now. In fact, prompt engineering seems to be a new career for some. A first prompt can be run, and then after the results are obtained, you can take a look at it and then see how to modify a second request, a second prompt. And so the results from the first is provided back or used by the AI system, called them intermediate results. They use for subsequent prompt responses. So subsequent prompts can further refine the intermediate results or try to get more information based upon them. So that's for prompt engineering. Natural language processing is again a buzzword. It's been around for quite some time. It has a natural language generation and natural language understanding as new paradigms that come along with it. And then multimodal user inputs is again very important, and it's been a big surprise of late in this quality of processing of multiple different types of inputs. You can not only provide textual queries, textual prompts, but you can also provide audio inputs, images, and so on. Supplementary images with text. The combination of all such inputs are now being used by AI systems to create a proper response. So multimodal user inputs is quite a big deal. AI systems can now determine the emotion of the user, comprehend what the emotion of the user is now, and respond accordingly. This involves determining the emotional tone of text inputs provided by user, for example. Also, taking the textual input provided, AI systems can output a probability distribution indicating whether the sentiment is positive, negative, or neutral. Similarly, hostile intent of a user can be determined and acted upon by AI systems. Now, one of the most common usages is document processing. Given a huge set of documents, or one large document, like PDF documents or Word documents, AI systems can summarize them into a few lines now, and this is a welcome tool for most researchers or people writing reports, for example, or even students for that matter. Whether it's legal or illegal is going to be put to use. Image manipulation is big too. We have all witnessed recently how ChatGPT and others have branched into modifying an image. The example of the Studio Ghibli inspired versions of image is all around us. The next important feature is the structured data as inputs. Using, for example, a JSON file, a document with all kinds of structured data, or even an Excel spreadsheet as inputs, and then using them to conduct an analysis and create useful charts and other forms of output, even create code that processes the JSON file, for example. So JSON or Excel is or several other types of structured data inputs are being used regularly now. It's a powerful feature. Now, along with that comes code generation. Code generation is based on user specifications. So user can specify and say, I want this kind of code to do this kind of task, and you have code being spit out. Or code generation can be based on structured data presented, and that's a very powerful and time-saving feature. A lot of technologists, sociologists, politicians, and world leaders have expressed various kinds of fears about the intended and unintended consequences of deploying AI worldwide, of what could go wrong, or potentially what could harm humanity. There were a lot of fear and trepidation expressed in the last couple of years, in particular, as AI was being deployed worldwide by various industries, for various corporations, for various businesses and governments. The fears are such: AI will be capable of reasoning and reason better than humans. Is that a good thing? Will AI be capable of being creative and sort of take over the whole business of creativity? Will AI be capable of conducting research, for example, and take over the role of researchers? Will AI be capable of making decisions like humans? Decision-making experts may no longer be in business. When AI starts making good decisions, probably not very harmful decisions, let's say, and then it'll have systems talking to each other and passing decisions, and we don't know who's going to be in the loop there in decision making. Again, will AI make many jobs vanish? That's a big fear. And then overall, will AI be dangerous to humanity? Is humanity going to be subservient to machines That's a big worry too. We already know that AI is capable of reasoning, of explaining why it's making certain presumptions, why the output turns out to be one way and not the other way. Deep reasoning seems to be possible. AI can be creative. We've seen its creativity put to use. We've seen it being used for conducting research already. We've seen people make decisions based upon data or um, conclusions provided by AI systems. So AI is part of the decision making process already, not only in military but in corporate world too. Point is, will AI make many jobs available, or will it make jobs vanish, or it'll be more like win some, lose some? That's out there. The jury is out there. We'll know in a couple of years, I suspect. And finally, will AI be dangerous to humanity? Well, that's a hard problem to tackle today, hard to say, but we have to design systems that ensure that AI is not dangerous to humanity and the onus is upon us. Now, let's review some of the popular AI systems out there that anyone can subscribe to and start using. Grok 3 from XAI, for example, is quite an amazing performance on some types of queries. With this ability to generate code in Python and other languages, you can essentially use them to provide new features on your existing website or app. Grok 3, for example, can take in structured data. It can take in SQL queries, for example, and not only generate code, but run the processing and give you the data, a final output that you can use for your purposes. Here is a SQL-like query. Essentially, looks like a extraction from a table in a database using SQL statements. This is a query you can run on Grok 3 to retrieve stocks with high volume and reversal patterns. So it identifies tickers, symbols from the last trading day when the volume was about the 20-day average and the stock opened with the previous day's low but closed above the previous day's high, and so on. So this is just a sample of the kind of queries you can run on Grok 3. Looks like a SQL statement essentially. Pretty interesting. You can run pretty interesting queries on ChatGPT, for example. You can ask ChatGPT to create a JSON file, a JSON representation of an employer record for a small organization. You can ask ChatGPT to make different kinds of JSON files or Excel spreadsheets for you. All you have to do is specify what kind of information has to be output, in what format you would prefer it to be output. And it's pretty interesting. Structured data can be easily output using ChatGPT also. DeepSeek R1 made a big splash about a month ago, essentially a knockoff from ChatGPT. This assumption that the data used for training it was also essentially ChatGPT data. Be that as it may, DeepSeek R1 can be run locally on many machines. Now, it's got some good things going for it. It's able to have some reasoning and problem solving abilities. So, it's supposed to be good in math and in coding. And so, that's pretty interesting if you can run it on your local machine and have it do some maths and some problem solving. More importantly, it's good for task specific performance. You could deploy DeepSeek essentially in small scale applications, small scale usages. Um, some specific, you can train it on specific data for specific verticals, and it will be quite a cost effective solution to deploy for task specific performances and small deployments. And then, most importantly, For DeepSeek R1, the cost effectiveness is a plus. Models like that demonstrate that you can have a pretty good performance at a lower cost. You don't necessarily have to have a large, most expensive $1 billion deployments like ChatGPT. You could perhaps make do with a smaller deployment that's going to be most cost effective for small organizations. Recent models released for AI systems support natural language understanding to some extent. Natural language understanding, NLU for short, is a field of artificial intelligence that enables computers to comprehend and interpret human language while focusing on the meaning, context, and the intent behind the words and the phrases rather than on just individual words. So, NLU is going to be supported by most LLMs. They will be able to interpret the context, detect the sentiments behind the context, also understand the idiomatic expressions and colloquialisms. Is a partial feature. Expect that to be widely deployed. And finally, we shall review some other major aspects of state of art AI systems today. Support for AI agents that, while interacting with the Gen AI models, also interact or manipulate services available on the web or on the local devices. Agents get very popular when deployed for individuals to do tasks on their behalf. Use of domain specific LLMs for medical sciences or for law or for other domains, especially where regulations and public safety issues are important. And finally, in context learning techniques that allow models to solve new complex tasks with just a few examples and demonstrations of usage. If you can provide good support for in context learning, then queries don't have to be too elaborate. The AI system will comprehend what needs to be done, what output needs to be created just by looking at the examples and inferring from the examples what tasks need to be executed. That's very powerful. So that concludes the list of features and aspects in the state of art AI systems today. Hope you had fun. We'll review this again in a different format, maybe in a few months. So it's time everyone started playing with Grok 3, Gemini, ChatGPT, DeepSeek locally on your own machine and figure out these features for yourself. It's pretty exciting playing with these new features, trying to figure out what comes next. It's going to be a really interesting time for the next 2 years for people who are interested to find out what the future holds for us, how we can milk the future, and how we can be prepared for the new future. It's going to be fun, but it takes some work, takes some digging, and takes some playing with all those AI models that keep sprouting every day like wild mushrooms around us.